So today we're gonna go through an article, and there's no video. I actually don't really know why, but I relatively often feel like, well, I just don't want to record my fucking face, even though, like, on the other hand, it is just it doesn't quite matter. On one part of that, of course, is that the audio is way faster edited than the video is, and both together. But yeah, we're gonna go through the article 22 stoic truth bombs from Marcus Aurelius that will make you unfuckwithable, which is a very interesting title. I I haven't heard something like that in quite some while, but I do think that stoicism per se is really interesting and helpful. And I do tremendously hope that I'm going to be able to share something that can help somebody. Today I escaped anxiety, or no, I discarded it because it was within me in my own perceptions, not outside. Marcus Aurelius. They look just like us, they work the same jobs, they face the same conflicts, the same difficulties. They live with the same awareness that one day they will die. They don't wear a uniform, they resemble no stereotype. They are the stoics among us, and they are identifiable only by their character. We know who they are only by the example they set for the rest of us when they face hardships with clear-headedness and equanimity. Their concern is not with wealth, fame, or status, but with virtue itself. Chief among them is the famed, not like he would care, Marcus Aurelius, the last of the 5 good emperors of Rome before its eventual decline and fall. The single most important practice in Stoic philosophy is differentiating between what we can change and what we cannot. And Marcus notes to himself in the Meditations can be taken as his efforts to live out his own life truly and rightly. He ruled the Roman Empire for 19 years, between 161 and 180 AD. During the time, he faced civil war, declining health, the unfaithfulness of his wife, and the constant threat of invasion from the north. Marcus Aurelius' dude was the real deal. Yeah, I would also say so. Wars between Rome and the Parthian Empire didn't get him down. A massive plague across the empire, even that failed to faze him. The rise of Christianity and all the instability that engendered hardly made him lose sleep at night. Meditations is the private notebook of one of the wisest, most virtuous, strongest-willed leaders to ever grace the earth. Many of our contemporary politicians can't hold a proverbial candle to this guy. Marcus never intended for these entries to be published. They were for his own benefit. They were his constant companion as he battled temptation, sloth, and cowardice within himself on a daily and hourly basis. It is too many the definitive text on self-discipline, personal ethics, humility, self-actualization, and strength. I hope that I will come to inspire you as much as it has inspired myself and countless others, too numerous to name, to embrace Stoic philosophy. Above all, I want you to realize what kind of situation we are all in. As a species, we fight to survive on a planet which is, at best, indifferent to our survival. To be alive on this planet is to be besieged daily by ethical quandaries, personal struggles, devastating catastrophes, crippling self-doubt, the apprehension of death, and the mostly unconscious realization that life entails eventually losing everything and everyone you love most. Life provides for both unstrained joy and immeasurable sadness. Part of the bargain of being alive is that you will come face to face with dangers which threaten your survival and happiness. Below, I survey just a few of them and provide a direct quote from Meditations related to those threats. Meditations is at the bottom Marcus Aurelius' exhortation that you get active in your own rescue. If you care for yourself at all, you do it while you still can. Rude people, and there's the first one, and there is quite some other ones, and I hope that I'm gonna be, well, you know what, I'm gonna start with the bottom ones, just because I also know that I know the first one already, and I've gone through it so often that I just also kind of don't want to go through it. Let's see. What is the 22nd one? The 22nd one is this one. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. We literally become what we think about. Understanding this, you see how critically important it is to guard the contents of your mind and aggressively filter what you let in. Trust Marcus on this one. He had a lot of people vying for his attention and a lot of time wasters that sought to distract him from his purpose. He understands or understood at a core level just what an important practice that this filtering process actually is. What's more, no one who acquires wisdom, self-control, justice, or courage ever experiences remorse after having acquired them. They're yours for life if you want them badly enough. If you're strong enough, you should know, however, that your mind is untouchable. Thus, in a way, so are you. Stoic philosophy and mental toughness. As mental toughness becomes increasingly rare, it also becomes more valuable. It's difficult to even survive in a universe that is indifferent to your existence and your place, and you place yourself at a distinct advantage if cultivate the ability to withstand its storms by practicing Stoic philosophy. I've overheard people complaining about things that blew my mind. Waiting 3 minutes for a donut, walking 5 minutes for a working ATM, whence money would subsequently fly out into their hands, and suffering through 30 minutes delays at the airport. But as Stoics, our business is within things that really matter. We show ourselves to be Stoics by displaying our unflappable character and our unshakable existential courage in the face of death. We battle these things within ourselves in order to become worthier of even greater challenges. We use what stands before us as fuel for self-development. In that sense, what stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius showed us 2,000 years ago that we need to be afraid of the death, that we need not be afraid of death, and that we should, under no circumstances, shrink away from life. The infinity of past and future gapes before us, and a chasm whose depths we cannot see. As Stoics, our only duty is to maximize each day, face unafraid what has come to destroy us, and help others to become similarly resilient, to help others see the truth of their situation. Like Nietzsche's Zarathustra, truthfulness becomes the highest virtue. The truth never harmed anyone. What harms us is to persist in self-deceit or deceit, whatever, and ignorance. It's disgraceful for the soul to give up while the body is still going strong, and I'm unbelievably grateful for Marcus for advocating this mindset in his life and writing. Meditations taught generations of now strong-willed individuals that the only rewards of our existence here is an unstained character and selfless acts. We will face ingratitude. People won't care what we have done for them. People won't care what we have endured. Circumstances will seem to conspire against us. We will endure pain and crushing hardship. But why should we feel anger at the moment or at the world, as if the world would notice? Never persist in self-deceit or deceit, ignorance or shamefulness. Never wait to become a better person to improve your life and in the life of others. Be good and noble and impressive now while it still matters. In closing, I'd like to mention a certain placard that was placed on a sidewalk leading up to the New York City Public Library. It contains a quote by Marcus Aurelius that is passed by every single day by people who have no idea who he is. I'm quite sure that he would just be fine with that. It's actually a really interesting plate, but it says, "Everything is only for a day, both that which remembers and that which is remembered." Marcus Aurelius Antonius, AD 121 to 180, Meditations. And this is actually kind of the last bit of the text there, and so we're going to go ahead with point 21. If it is endurable, then endure it. If it is not endurable, then stop complaining. Your destruction will mean its end as well. I'm not sure I can identify a single day or moment when my life changed completely and moved in a particular direction. But if I had to point to one of them, it would be the first time I saw a kid close to my own age, 24 at the time, literally starving to death by the side of a road. I was living in the mountains of India, working on behalf of Human Rights Watch, and I drove by this teenager who was probably 50 pounds underweight, crawling along the ground, weak from hunger. I think about that kid a lot, especially at times when the guy at the drive-through window messes up my order, or when I come back to my car and see a parking ticket on my windshield. What causes people in quote-unquote developed countries become so pathetically weak-willed? When did they start breaking down at the slightest hint of discomfort? Can we not find a way to endure? Good question. And yeah, I do also kind of want to point out that we, of course, have gotten weaker and softer because times have changed, and that's quite it. Doing everything, and this is the 20th point, do everything as if it were the last thing you were doing in your life. As they say, the person who puts the finishing touches on their life each day is never short of time, because which other day can you live besides this one? The past doesn't exist anymore, the future will never exist, and so that means that all we have is right now. We don't have any control over yesterday, tomorrow, or even anything at all that is external to us. Lack of control with respect to externals is actually good because it drastically reduces the number of things that you have to think about. The only thing you have to think about is this very moment that you're living now. All you have to do is the action that you're doing now. Right now, you're here. Later, you'll be there. And of course, sometime soon, you'll be nowhere. Don't let any day pass by without the awareness that you are a dying person. Which I think is very important, even though it might sound a little bit like, how should I say, sad and stuff, but it actually quite isn't, because we are gonna die. We all are gonna die, and we should really be thankful for every single fucking day that we're having, because every single fucking day is a gift that you can share with people in terms of making their life better by being friendly, by being nice, by giving them something, by saying something. Sort of bits of a damn good advice. 19. At some point, you have to recognize what world it is, what you belong to, what power rules it, and from what source you spring. That there is a limit to the time assigned you, and if you don't use it to free yourself, it will be gone and will never return. Whenever I quote meditations, inevitably I'll return again and again to this phenomenal passage. What we do now, Marcus says, echoes in eternity. We are always being tested by life, being asked how badly we want what we say we want, and asked how we believe human beings should live. Our lives are our answer to these questions that life is asking us, but obviously we face a time limit during which to give our answer. We can't delay, and we can't pass the question off to anyone else. How often are we even aware that our time is running out? Time can be linked to a credit card if that is easy to keep spending until you get your statement at the end of the month and you see that you don't have anything left. We keep spending our time on trivialities, and then at the end of our lives, we get our statement. Practicing Stoic philosophy means asking, what will your statement look like? And I think it is an amazing question. It's like, what are you going to be remembered for? What are you willing to be remembered for? And, some people might say something like, I don't know, for being a good person. Some other people might be, wow, I want to be remembered as the dude that built an amazing business. And I think both is fine. The 18th point. Nature first invited you in, then sends you away. Before long darkness make you exit with the same grace shown to you. Our greatest asset at the moment of our eventual death is our calm and reasoned mind. Because before long you'll be no one, nowhere. What Marcus Aurelius really wants to hammer home is the fact that your reaction to the event of your own death is entirely under your own power. The natural order of things is that things come into existence and then they pass into nothingness. What is it to die? It is to return to the elements, to continue as a part of the whole but in a different constitution. Thus, the components of our substance exists forever, coeval with the universe, or coexist, made in the stars and in an endless dance with our elements, constituted and reconstituted through our time by nature's laws. Though we cease as we now are, what we are never ceases. The 17th one. Except death in a cheerful spirit is nothing but the dissolution of the elements from which living thing is composed. If it doesn't hurt the individual elements to change continually into one another, why are people afraid of all of them changing and separating? It's a natural thing, and nothing natural is evil. You will vanish into what produced you, that much is clear. As Alan Watts says, what you do is something that the whole universe is doing, in the same way that a wave is something that the whole ocean is doing. I feel like Aurelius and Watts would have been good friends. This particular constitution of elements can't exist forever, and thus you won't exist forever as you. But who's to say whether a single blissfully happy experience is worth all the suffering and sadness that life necessarily implies? Having wisdom or happiness for a single moment is the same as having it forever. What does actually the time say? Because I don't know. 16 minutes. I think I'm gonna go through the 16th one, because 16 minutes, 16, yeah. You could leave life right now. Let that please go away. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. There's absolutely 100% no guarantee that you will live to read the end of this sentence, all right? You made it, but maybe not the next sentence. Who knows these things? Everything is ephemeral. The unique ability of human beings to project themselves into the future means being able to conceive of a future in which they will no longer be around. This future is what you need to concern yourself with today, or rather, it should influence what you do, say, and think. There is no more time. Let this realization shake you up. Let it bring to the front of your mind things like the truth that people are more important than things. Your loved ones aren't your possessions, but instead people who you are fortunate enough to know and love for a short time. Thoughts like these should guide your speech, thought, and actions. And with that being said, I'm gonna end the episode. It's actually fairly late and I need to go to bed. So I wish you the best health of happiness and also success, and also hope that you're gonna remind yourself and you're gonna be remembered. So basically means your legacy, and basically means just being a nice person and then being remembered as a nice person, which is a pretty fucking cool thing. 3 other questions that I'm if you are, why are you here? What are you trying to change, and what's bothering you the most? These 3 questions. So hopefully gonna show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea, which is a pretty fucking cool thing. And with that being said, what could you essentially say to another person that is indeed gonna change their life? Because I totally believe that we all can say something and we all can communicate something. With that being said, bye-bye. Please take care of yourself, your family members, and all of your loved ones and friends. Bye-bye.